Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pampering Myself podcast. So, today I want to talk about a subject that is generally reserved for the new year, and that would be weight loss. Yes, my favorite topic. And it may or may not be yours, but it's not just weight loss for the sake of looking good, although we certainly want to do that. It's more of a health issue. I know when I was in my 20s and 30s and maybe even 40s, it was all about getting in a particular dress, going to a particular event, um, just looking pretty and feeling confident and good. Well, some of those things still exist today, but mainly it's about health. And so we're going to talk about weight loss and some of the myths that are associated with losing weight. And then we're going to see how we can work around that. And by the time the first of the year comes, we will already be in full effect. So are you with me? Let's go. Now, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, known as the CDC, about 49% of adults in the United States reported trying to lose weight at some point between 2015 and 2018. And every year, the popularity of dieting tends to increase. And this is usually when? At the beginning of the year, making health and weight loss the number one New Year resolution. So that's not news to us because most of us that are listening, it's either about health or weight loss or a combination of both. Now, for anyone who's ever tried to lose weight, know just how difficult and frustrating that process can be. And believe me, I'm one of them and one today. But there are some factors that interfere with this process. And the good news is there's a workaround. So here are some of the key factors that play into weight loss. And when we take these factors into consideration, it could be the difference between success and failure. Because most time we want to jump in and do something and we want the results, but there's always some obstacle, some roadblock that is in our way. So if we can learn how to maneuver around that roadblock, if we can just get an insight on what it is, we just might succeed. So we're going to take that chance today. And I'm going to share with you a few of what they call the key factors that may interfere with your successful weight journey. The first one is caloric intake. Now, it's important to focus on the nutritional and a well-balanced diet and control your portion sizes. But most people don't. So a way to do that is to document it. And I can remember going to these weight loss clinic several times, and they would always have you write down what you ate. Every single thing. If you put a piece of gum in your mouth, if you put a peppermint in your mouth, because those calories add up. And we just don't think about that when we say, oh, I didn't eat that much today. Well, maybe you didn't, but those calories added up. So calories is a big factor. Here's the other one that most people don't like. Physical activity. So exercise can aid in your weight loss by combining strength training, flexible workouts, cardio exercise, and of course, any kind of exercise that would help burn calories. Those can contribute to your caloric deficit. So if you exercise, you can burn those calories. Now, that's not to say that, although I've done it, that I'm going to eat this piece of cake and I'm just going to get on a treadmill. Or I'm going to stay on the treadmill an extra 30 minutes because I ate that piece of cake. Well, let's say you did walk enough on the treadmill to burn off that piece of cake. well, then you didn't get anywhere. Now, so I guess if you're stable, health-wise and weight-wise, then that's okay if you want to play tit for tat. But if you're trying to lose weight, that's a no-no. That brings me to metabolism. Now, we know that when you reach a certain age, your metabolism slows down. So a factor to revving up your metabolism or it dying down can have many different factors in it. We're talking about age, genetics, body composition, gender. All those things affect your weight loss. So in order to boost your metabolism, you might have to increase your physical activity. Or you might have to try some more strenuous activity, particularly that strength training. I never was a big fan of strength training. Now I'll walk on a treadmill all day. Walking has become my number one favorite. It used to be aerobics. I don't do high impact aerobics anymore. Knees gotten older, but things that can help, especially with weights. When we talk about weights, the belt, the big ball they have, raising it over your head, those things to help burn the calories and get that metabolism going. Another factor is hormones. And ladies, when we get older, these are some things we cannot control. So there are things we can't control. Hormones is one, such as insulin, leptin, and others that can affect our weight loss. Those things, we just gotta roll with the punches. The next important one is sleep. Poor sleeping habits can disrupt the balance of hunger regulating hormones and lead to weight gain. Weight gain. So what they're saying is you don't even have to eat. You can just sit there and gain weight if you don't get enough sleep. Because the research shows that adequate sleep is not only critical for overall health, but it supports weight loss. I'll say it again, adequate sleep is good for overall health, but it also supports weight loss. Sleep is so important because when our bodies are at rest, and not just rest, but in a state of sleep, then it does all its work it needs to do to repair our cells, our organs, and keep everything in optimal running order. But if we can't sleep, or people have said, I can operate off of 4 hours, I only need 4 hours of sleep. In your mind, or yes, maybe you can operate off of 4 hours of sleep, but you don't know what it's doing internally. And that's where we have to get out of that mindset. The next one is my favorite word, stress. Now, for some, chronic eating can lead to overeating. So some have learned you have to learn these techniques on how to manage your stress. Some people overeat when they're stressed. One thing behind another. Me, I'm the opposite. When I'm stressed, I can't eat. So a person that knows themselves knows this is a factor and this is a barrier. So if you are one that stresses and need to eat, then you have to consider the alternative from the junk food to what would be good. And if you can't do that, then you need to find something else to substitute it, that it would be effective, positive, something that would help you. Then there's behavioral and habits. So developing healthy habits and making sustainable lifestyle changes are essential to long-term weight management. And when we talk about long-term, we're not talking about the 10 pounds I need to lose by next weekend to get in the outfit for the event I'm going to. And then when that event is over, I can't get in that outfit anymore because I went back to my regular eating habits. So we're talking about long-term. So the reality is you may have to completely change your thought process. Because if not, then you'll go back to doing what you were doing. And all of that would have been in vain. And it's not healthy to go up and down, as they call the yo-yo dieters. I know I was a professional yo-yo dieter back in the day. And then there are the medical conditions and the medicines that we take. So there's some certain conditions like hypothyroidism or polycystic ovary syndrome and all these other health big words that can affect us, as well as medications. This is another area in which we have no control. If you are on a medication that you take on a daily basis, it can and will affect your weight loss. And that's something you'll just have to work around. So instead of getting frustrated because you know that it affects it, you may have to do something a little more, or it might take longer. So that's another thing that you just can't control, and we can't get around that. And the final factor I have for you is environmental. So when we think about environmental, those are the factors where we have accessibility to unhealthy food. And we know what that means, right? If you live in a big city where there's one restaurant after another on every corner, particularly fast food restaurants that sell greasy foods that are not healthy for us. They are good. Don't get me wrong. It is so much easier to stop off and pick up a piece of chicken or a hamburger or a hot dog or something like that and eat on the run, or even bring it home for dinner. But that type of lifestyle is not healthy, especially if you're not a person that move around or can burn it off. And even if you do, because skinny or people who are proportionally fit does not necessarily mean that they are healthy. It just means that they're able to maintain a lower body weight. But they can be just as unhealthy, or a person who's overweight could be healthier than a person who isn't. So you just want to be more conscious. And then even when we talk about these restaurants that serve and prepare meals, full cooked meals, if you were to be a fly on the wall, oh, that's kind of gross, someone in the kitchen, right? But anyway, a fly on the wall inside of a restaurant and watch what they actually cook with. A lot of them cook with a lot of salt-based seasonings, and a lot of butter. And those are definitely detrimental to your health. The food tastes good when it comes out. It's delicious, but is it healthy? Just because you went to a restaurant and they fixed it. Now, when I cook at home, I don't use all that salt. Very sparingly with salt and butter. I use more powdered seasonings because I can't tolerate that salt. The salt swells you. The salt is harmful to blood pressure. So a certain amount of salt is beneficial, and you have to have it. But when you overindulge, it makes you retain water. It's just so many negative things that all that salt and butter can do to your body. So you really need to limit your outings, the amount of food that you eat in these restaurants, which make it more beneficial to cook yourself. But we're busy people. We work a lot of hours. We want to play just as hard. And it is costing us at our health. So you might want to consider that. Now that we know that there are key factors that can play a part in our weight loss journey, let's look at some of these myths I ran across in this article, and we're going to dispel them. So, the first one, it's impossible to lose weight. Now, I know, and you know, that is not impossible, but sometimes we feel that way, and sometimes we give up because it just seems like it's not going to happen. but it will over time and with some work. The National Weight Control Registry, and I didn't even think there was such a thing, but there is a National Weight Control Registry that started tracking people who lost 30 or more pounds in 1994 and kept it off for a year. Now I'm going to digress here for a minute. How did they get that information? Did somebody call me? No. Did somebody call you? I mean, I've lost 30 before. It ain't been recent, but since 1994. And I haven't heard from a soul. So somebody is feeding our information somewhere. Anyway, back on the subject. At the time of this article, which was written in July of 2021, there was more than 10,000 Americans who lost an average of 66 pounds and kept it off for more than 5 years. Now, I've lost weight and I found it back. And of course, it's never been off for 5 years. Now, I might have been up and down for 5 years, but I ain't never been down. So that's a myth. There are people that are successful at doing it. You just have to try a little harder. And we're going to get into some of the try a little harders in a second. Number 2 myth. To lose weight, you only need to eat less and exercise more. Now, we've all heard all you have to do is eat less and exercise more. But at the beginning of this podcast, I shared a few key factors that could affect your weight loss. So I think we can all agree it's not as easy as eat less and exercise more, because that is not the 100% answer. Number 3, all calories are equal. This one I'm going to have fun with. Absolutely not. Now, I used to justify eating something that I wanted. And I'm going to give you an example in a second. But the example here is 4 ounces of French fries and 4 ounces of chicken breast had the same amount of calories. Yet, one is healthier than the other. So from a health perspective, and if you're trying to lose weight, it's not a brainer, right? Which one you should choose. Certainly, the chicken would be more beneficial all the way around because it's a protein, a low fat, low sodium. I mean, it's just more beneficial than the French fries altogether. But I used to say I would be the one that picked them doggone French fries because I would say to myself, okay, they say we should drink milk. Well, I never did like milk, but I liked a lot of ice cream, right? And I told myself that's how I got my milk, in my ice cream. So we can justify any and everything that we want, but no, all calories are not equal. So when you start to count calories or look at calories, it's not just the calorie on those labels. It's a variety of things when you learn how to read those labels and which one would give you the better benefit of health, right? The next one, number 4, you need to lose substantial weight to notice health changes. And wrong again. The research shows that just 10% of weight loss can lower your blood pressure and control your blood sugar and lower your risk for heart disease. So don't be discouraged when you only lose a small amount, because a small percentage is better than no percentage. I remember when I stopped smoking. Now, when I go to the doctor and they ask me, have you or are you smoking? No. Have you ever smoked? Yes. When did you quit? Well, I quit on December 31st, 1979. Oh, thank God, I'm so glad I did. When I think about all of the stuff going on now, because we know that a lot of times things don't affect you until later in life. who's to say? I'm just glad I'm on the end of having stopped 40 plus years ago versus yesterday. But if you stop yesterday or if you stop tomorrow, it will still be beneficial versus you not stopping at all. So small steps can add up. So don't quit. And even that small percentage, health-wise, you are benefiting. Number 5, Americans are overweight because we eat too much. Well, that's not necessarily true. We know now that high-calorie processed foods and sugar-filled drinks are just a part of the American diet. Not to mention the exposure to all of these chemicals found in canned foods. That's another topic for another day. And things that we are taking in, we know now that they all contribute to weight gain, obesity, and all types of other health issues that we're not even aware of. Number 6, you have to give up alcohol to lose weight. Well, alcohol is high in sugar. There are some more than others. And there's been several studies that have found heavy drinking is linked to weight gain, whereas light or moderate drinking, there's very little connection. So I guess for this, I'll say everything in moderation, right? So you don't necessarily have to stop. You might consider beer as something that might bloat you if you were one of those people that get bloat. I don't drink beer, never liked beer. I'm probably a one drink a week, 2 to max kind of person, and that might not be every week. But I will indulge, and so the minimum amount of alcohol is not a factor for me. Number 7, there's a single best diet. And the National Weight Control Registry did their study, and they found out that 45% of the people who lost weight were following various diets on their own. And then they had 55% use a structured weight loss program. Most say they had tried more than one program before they were able to keep the weight off. As I said, even though I went to one weight loss clinic, I have tried more programs than you can imagine. And I think I'm almost sure that the best way would be to follow a sensible diet and to exercise. It might be longer. And when I say a simple diet, I mean to follow what we know to be true. Fruits, vegetables, starches, everything in moderation. Exercising means I don't sit around on the couch all day watching television. Get out, move, do some things, and I might incorporate some form of exercise, yoga, meditation, something that'll get me up and moving. So that I think works better than taking supplements and things that, some of these clinics give you, stuff they want you to drink that you don't know what's in it. So that would be my advice, and that's what I'm going to do moving forward. Number 8, people need more willpower to lose weight. Now, a person's success or failure is not a reflection of their willpower. As I previously mentioned, there are many factors, some of which are out of our control. So when we look at ourselves or when we look at someone else and we see someone who's overweight, we have a tendency of thinking or judging them in a negative way. And we may not know what they're confronted with. So there could be a lot of things when we talk about genetics or gender or medications that they might be on or things that they can or cannot do, stress, all of these things that work against them. Certainly their environment, if they can't get out and the only thing that's brought to them is fast food every day, then how do you expect them to lose weight? So it's something we have to consider, and that people, there's a reason why. Now, I'm not going to say that does not necessarily mean that they're not trying as hard as they can, because that could also be a factor. I'm certainly not ruling that out. But if we know we're doing everything we can do, then that's all we can do, and we should continue to do it without giving up. And my final myth: you need to buy a wearable fitness tracker to keep tabs on your progress. They did a study in 2016 of 470 people for 2 years. Now, these people were split into groups. Some were just put on a low-calorie diet. Some were put on a diet and their activities were increased, and some attended some type of group counseling. And then one of the groups were given a fitness tracker and the others didn't. Surprisingly, the group that did not wear the fitness tracker lost on average 5 pounds more over the same time period. Now, here's my school of thought on that. When I went on vacation last month, and every time I go on vacation, well, in preparation of vacation and on vacation, I get on this exercise kick. I get on the walking mainly before, so what? I can lose the weight, right? Then while I'm on vacation, I walk so that I can what? Eat what I want and burn the calories off. Either way, I'm on that tracker. I'm tracking every step, and every step needs to be, every day it needs to be more than the day before. And I think I got up to the last 7 days, something like 80,000 steps in 7 days, which I think was a record for me. And it motivated me. But when I thought about the scale, when I was doing my weight loss, when I got on the scale depressed me. I could not get on the scale every day. And they tell you not to get on the scale every day when you're losing weight, even if it's the same time. But if you did, make it be the same time in the same attire, as close as possible, because those are the true numbers. But knowing affected my progress. So I can understand it here that those people are not focusing on their steps. They're just going about their business, doing what they're doing. And the weight loss was automatically, it was just dropping. But I was focused on those darn steps, and those steps gave me permission to eat a piece of extra cake. Yep. So it sabotaged me. Well, I allowed it to sabotage me. So there is a difference in, I guess, you have to know yourself. This is just what the study proved, that the people who did not have the tracker, that did not know how many steps they were taking, it wasn't important to them. And I'm guessing the tracker just tracks your steps. Now, we can add up those if you want to and know whether it's a successful weight loss or not. But burning calories. But obviously, it did not affect them because they were the winners at the end. Well, I don't want to use the word winner. They progressed further ahead without that tracker. So I guess it's not necessary. That's what it seems like to me. So there you have it. The verdict is in. We can all agree that weight loss can be challenging and that there are factors that are beyond our control, biological and behavioral. But it's not impossible. Now we know that. So, armed with that information, me personally, I'm more confident I'll be successful, and so will you. So please check with your doctor before trying any weight loss programs or taking any supplements, especially if you have any health issues or any concerns. Thanks to Time Magazine for this special edition on the secrets of weight loss and how we can be better informed and looking forward to a healthier lifestyle. And as always, don't forget to pamper yourself. And until next time, be safe and be blessed.